Hey guys, I'm back from an amazing trip across Europe. Barcelona, the French Riviera, Andorra, and of course the Stelvio Pass, for the third time already. I've seen in the comments that some of you also travel, so give me your recommendations. Where should I ride next? Before and after the journey, I had to dig into my bike a bit, but on the road, it performed flawlessly, without a single issue. Now it's time to continue with the second part of my KTM 1290 Super Adventure upgrades, the add-ons I've actually installed. The bike is at 83,000 kilometers now, and I can show you which upgrades truly make a difference. So let's skip the small talk and get straight to it. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, check it out. That's where I cover all the upgrades for the front of the bike. Lots of useful stuff there. Today we're picking up right where we left off. And to kick things off, let's start with one upgrade I completely forgot to mention last time. Folding mirrors. This upgrade is a must if you ride in the forest or off-road. You probably know this already, but still, branches and other obstacles can easily smash your mirrors. Off-road you almost don't need them, but removing them before every ride isn't really an option. My solution? I installed folding mirrors. Now I just flip them inwards when I don't need them. Even in city traffic they sometimes help. Some trucks have mirrors at exactly the same height, and by folding mine I can slip through. Disc lock with alarm. I bought a disc lock with an alarm, and it turned out to be super useful. Why? If someone touches the bike, it screams. More importantly, it saves me from myself. Story time. A long time ago, on another bike, I used a simple mechanical disc lock. I completely forgot about it and tried to ride off. After half a meter, the bike stopped dead. Luckily, the brake calipers survived. Since then, I'd rather not risk it. Now, whenever I mount the bike, the alarm reminds me to remove the lock. Bonus. For some reason, local cats love to poke at the lock. I guess they enjoy the sound. Crash bars. On the KTM 1290S AR, crash bars come standard. But on the S version, you'll have to buy them separately. And yes, you absolutely should. Motorcycles are inherently unstable, so sooner or later your bike will fall over, by itself, just because. With you on it, for all kinds of reasons. If you can protect your bike, why wouldn't you? High crash bars, necessary or not? In my experience, standard crash bars are enough. When the bike falls, the impact is usually on the lower part. Additional protection. On the R version, engine protection is also standard. On the S version, you can buy a plastic engine guard. Don't skimp on it. On dirt roads, it'll save your engine from flying rocks. Fuel tank protection sticker. KTM sells tank pads for the knee contact areas. I've seen many bikes with them. I even bought an official KTM set, but never installed them. Why? In 2021, there were complaints that the glue softened in heat. The pads shifted, peeled off, and left glue stains on the tank. Cleaning the glue? A nightmare. As a result, the pads are still sitting on a shelf. I decided I don't really need them. Footpegs. The stock footpegs aren't bad, but they're narrow. Only half your boot fits, which is uncomfortable. KTM offers factory racing footpegs, which I considered. Important! If you're riding off-road, remove the rubber inserts. If your boot steps into mud, the rubber becomes as slippery as if it were greased. I almost injured myself when my foot slipped off in a standing position. Since then, I always ride without rubber inserts on off-road trips. Bonus tip. Did you know you can adjust the footpeg height? Remove the pin and flip the mounting plate to lower or higher the footpeg by 1 centimeter. Doesn't sound like much, but it might help someone. Frame protectors. One unexpected issue. The frame gets worn down by your boots. On my previous KTM, the paint rubbed off completely, exposing the metal. It looked awful. Either dirt got stuck in the exposed areas, or the paint peeled off in chunks. The solution? KTM Power Parts Frame Protectors. Plastic protectors mounted with double-sided tape. Inexpensive, but way more useful than they look. Results? Installed them immediately on this bike. After thousands of kilometers, they're holding up perfectly. The frame underneath is still pristine, and if they do wear out, they look much better than a scratched frame. Side stand enlarger. If your bike doesn't have one, install it immediately. Some new bikes don't come with it. On used bikes, it's almost always installed. It's one of the first upgrades people do. The stock side stand is too narrow. It sinks into any soft surface. Even hot asphalt can cause it to lean dangerously over time. On sand or dirt, it's risky to park without an enlarger. I use SW-Motec, looks good and does its job. KTM now also sells official enlargers, but even for €50, it doesn't really look that much wider, at least not in pictures. Passenger footpegs. Walking around my bike, I remembered an issue. Passenger footpegs can be dangerous, off-road. With my size 43 boots, my heel gets caught on the peg, locking my foot in place. If the bike falls, my leg could get trapped. Simple fix, just remove them. They're held by 2 bolts, takes 5 minutes to remove, might save you from an injury. Seats, with and without heating. The stock one-piece seat is hard, narrow, and uncomfortable. After 40 kilometers, you'll want to get off and stretch. So I immediately replaced it with KTM Power Parts comfort seats. Available in heated and non-heated versions. Different height options also exist, but that's another discussion. Why didn't I get the heated version? On older KTM 1290S models, pre-2021, the exhaust pipe wasn't insulated. Riders complained about heat buildup, so KTM offered an insulated exhaust as an option. The result? The seat heated up naturally, making built-in heating less necessary. But on the 2021 Plus KTM 1290R, the insulated exhaust is now standard. The seat doesn't heat up at all. Now in spring and fall I really miss the heated seat. Conclusion. If you want more comfort, get the heated version. You can install it yourself, but software activation requires a dealer visit. Alarm system. I had to install it. My insurance required it. Is it useful? In long trips it provides extra peace of mind. Has motion sensors that trigger if someone tries to steal the bike. The downside? In Prague, it kept going off because of passing trams. Hotel guests hated me after a few loud nighttime activations. I eventually had to disable it. Would I still install one? Yes, but next time I check the sensitivity settings first to avoid another public disturbance. Side cases and mounting system. I found my perfect side cases, SW Motec Adventure Set Trax ADV. Actually, their mounting system is the real highlight. What makes it great? The mounting plates are compact, almost invisible when the cases aren't attached. You can use them for attaching straps or nets when riding without cases. The pannier racks attach in seconds. All you need is a coin or a large screwdriver. They're solid and sturdy, and they might even work as crash bars. But I'm not brave enough to test that theory. The lock system is sold separately, and without it, well, let's just say your racks might go touring without you. About the cases. Aluminum, spacious and fully waterproof, tested on a week-long ride in heavy rain. Everything inside stayed completely dry, survived the drop, no damage, even to the mounts. But there's a catch. The mounting frames are asymmetrical. Right and left sides are different, due to the exhaust. With the cases on, the bike becomes as wide as half a car. Forget about lane splitting. In heavy rain, water and dirt fly between the cases and the bike, giving your passenger an unexpected shower from below. Pro tips. Inner bags. Searching for stuff inside a top case is a nightmare. If everything is just thrown in, you'll go insane. Bags solve the problem. Just grab them and carry them inside while leaving the cases on the bike. Optional lid nets. Super useful for storing small items without digging through the case. Toolbox. I installed the SW Motec Trax Toolbox. Compact, discreet, but surprisingly practical. It mounts symmetrically with the exhaust, so it looks neat and well integrated. By the way, the lock and key are sold separately. Most riders just get it with the pannier kit, so you can open everything with one key. Inside, I keep tools, cables, zip ties, and all sorts of little just-in-case repair bits. It's completely waterproof. Rain and dirt don't bother it at all. But here's the catch. The metal is pretty thin, and it cracked where the mount is welded to the box. Luckily I spotted it in time, otherwise the toolbox might have quietly taken its own route. I fixed it with bolts and washers, and now it's rock solid like it should have been from the start. Funny thing is, I've never actually needed it for myself, but my friends, they seem to need it all the time. Probably because they're the ones breaking down, and I'm the one carrying the tools. Tailbag. If I'm riding alone on a short trip, I don't need the side cases. I use just the top case, toolbox and this bag. A simple waterproof roll top bag. Actually 100% waterproof, you could probably float down a river with it. Fits perfectly on the rear seat. Even when stuffed full, it doesn't get in the way. Bonus, I pack it so the middle stays soft, turning it into a comfy backrest. Conclusion. Most of you probably already have one, just use it. It's totally worth it. Luggage straps. I use rock straps which are hands down the best I've tried. Built-in elastic sections keep tension even as the bag compresses. If the bag shrinks, air escaping, contents shifting, it doesn't start flapping around. Why are they better than cargo nets? Cargo nets use hooks, and hooks are the worst. First they tangle with each other, then they scratch your bike, then they get in the way and drive you nuts. I threw my net away before I ever found a good use for it. Since then, only rock straps. They just work. Top case. For me, this is an essential accessory. I use it every day. It holds clothes, essentials, water, and anything I need quickly. In travel, the case locks with a key, so I can leave my stuff inside without worry. But there are some issues. The lock isn't lubricated from the factory. If you don't apply silicone spray, it will start sticking. Dirt from the rear wheel gets thrown directly onto the lock. It needs regular cleaning. The passenger backrest is sold separately, so if you need one, don't forget to order it. Inside the case, another issue. It's plastic with a hard plastic interior. If you throw things in without padding, they will rattle, scratch, and jump on bumps. A can of Red Bull after a ride looks like it survived an explosion. Bonus hack. On dirt roads, Red Bull actually explodes. Important. The mounting plate is sold separately. If your case is brand new, don't forget to order it. Backpack. For off-road rides, side cases are a no-go. So where do you put small essentials like tools, spare bolts, cables, and rain gear? I considered specialized motorcycle saddlebags. But they're expensive and inside they're just a single empty space, no compartments. My solution? I bought a tactical backpack for hiking, then tried it on the bike. Turned out to be perfect. Water resistant, durable, doesn't wear out easily. Lots of pockets and compartments, plus mole webbing for attaching extra pouches. Why is it actually useful? Fits perfectly on the top case mount, like they were designed for each other. Doesn't rattle or get in the way. All pockets remain easily accessible. Easy to remove and carry if you need to leave the bike. Conclusion: it ended up cheaper, more convenient, and more practical than regular soft luggage. Less volume, but it's enough for me. And of course, I can't resist showing off how the backpack looks on the bike when riding off-road. Pretty messy, but a lot of fun, you know what I mean. Rear fender extender. The amount of dirt flying onto the top case is ridiculous. The bike's stock fender wasn't designed for large luggage. All the water from the rear tire dumps straight onto the top case. In rain, dirty water clogs the lock mechanism. The lock jams, the key struggles to turn. I've been meaning to fix this for a while. 3D scan the fender, design and print an extension. Finally stop dealing with the mud-covered lock. If you're interested, let me know and I'll add it to my project list. Either way, I'll show you the final result. You can't escape that. What else could I tell you about? Or maybe something I forgot? Oh, right, since the wheels on this bike seem to deflate by themselves. And I guess that's not a bug, but a factory feature. Plus, I sometimes ride off-road and need to air down, then pump back up once I get home. This little Bosch EasyPump is absolutely priceless. Always in my top case, always in use. Honestly, I recommend it. I still haven't found the perfect motorcycle, but the KTM 1290 Super Adventure is the closest thing. I'm still torn between the S and R versions. Sometimes I miss the comfort and speed of the S, but I don't want to sacrifice the rugged off-road capability of the R. Why all these upgrades? To make the bike as versatile as possible. Sure, you can travel on any bike, but I love this one. Your thoughts? I'm sure there are other useful mods I didn't mention. If you have any tested must-have upgrades, drop them in the comments. I deliberately didn't talk about riding gear in this video, that's another huge topic. If you're interested, we can cover it in a future video. And that's it. If you found this video helpful, subscribe. That's the best way to show that the effort was worth it. See you in the next video. Ride safe!